right, hello everyone, and welcome. I am Haijin, and I'm here with
Robin Stratton.
All right.
So today we're here to hopefully help you choose the right milling machine for your laboratory. We've made a slide on about each milling machine that we have to offer, and what we'd like to do is, as we're talking about a machine, we'd like you to ask questions at that time. So when we're talking about the first mill, if it's one that you're interested in, let's ask those questions at that time and kind of make this an open Q&A for everybody.
Awesome.
All right. Let me just get rid of this. All right, let's begin. So the first mill that we're going to discuss is the Sirona MCX5. The indication types are it's good for milling zirconia, you can mill wax out of it, PMMA, glass ceramic blocks, hybrid ceramics. Right, it's like an all-in-one mill, and what's nice about this mill is and it also can do unsintted precious metals. I'm sorry about that. So I'll move to the next one, the next slide. It shows kind of the arms for this milling machine. And it shows in one photograph, and hopefully you can see my pointer here. You see the disc milling here, and then over here we have the mandrel blocks easily interchanged into these arms. So as you change indication types, all you change is these inserts and the milling strategies, and it can go from wet to dry, and also has a really nice cleaning feature. So when you go from wet to dry, you kind of just push this cleaning button, and it goes in and kind of tries and does its best to clean out the mill as you're swapping between wet to dry. And it will be able to mill custom abutments. It's just not there yet, but it will be down the line. So it will be, one of those mills that will be able to do everything. Another point to make with this mill is it not only has these easy interchangeable inserts for the material holders, but it also, if we look inside the mill here at this tool holders, and it comes with 3 holders, and this one has a yellow line on it, like right here, and then there is a blue one and a red one. So those kind of change as you're changing material types. So if you're swapping to, let's say, glass ceramics, you would just pull out that black, where's my cursor? This black piece here, it just slides right out. You slide in the set for your Emax tools, and you're ready to go. It holds about 12.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So let me move down. Now, does anybody have any questions about the MCX5 right now? Are you guys familiar with it? Is it something you've looked into wanting to add to your lab? How much time to switch from wet to dry? I would say honestly, 5 to 10 minutes, because it does do the cleaning process. That takes about 10 minutes. Yeah, and then you'll definitely want to, if you're going from wet to dry, you'll want to go in there with a towel just to make sure everything's nice and dry after the cleaning feature. But I can say I would definitely see you being able to swap between wet and dry fairly quickly, within 10 minutes. So. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next mill. And then in the end, if you guys did want to come back to this mill, we totally can. So. Let's move to the next one.
Excellent. Sorry about that. So again, just to answer the spindle power question, it is 60,000 RPM on that spindle.
All right, so we're going to move to the next slide. And then again, if anyone did have any other questions for the MCX5, we can always come back. Next, we're going to talk about another mill from the Sirona line, the Sirona InLab MCXL. It's a wet only mill, so this one would not switch from wet to dry. And it's actually the indication types are zirconia block and glass ceramics block. So you can see in the picture here, someone is actually loading the machine in. So it is a single mandrel style holder for this mill. So it would probably be perfect for if you're adding on, let's say you just wanted to add in wet capabilities to your lab for just glass ceramics or something. That would be a good addition. But it is also kind of mostly known for its chair side.
Yes, it's a very, very fast mill, like Robin mentioned, but there are some limitations on the zirconia blocks. I believe we're limited to at least 3 units max on the zirconia blocks.
Right. There's some that come a little bit longer than the ones you see in this picture that you can fit, about a 3-unit bridge or so, but not, I wouldn't say 3 single units, just like a 3-span bridge. All right. Oh, how long does it take to mill a unit on the first mill you talked about? So the MCX5, depending on how many units are in a disc and what type of restoration it is, is it an interior or is it a posterior? I would say can get a posterior out of that in about 20 minutes, maybe like depending on the size, like a really fine detailed 20 minutes. But for an anterior, you can probably get a quick one out like 14 to 15 minutes. It all depends on the detail and size.
Next question.
How fast does it mill glass ceramics?
On the MCXL or the MCX5?
The MCXL, probably. All right, so for the MCXL, that one, for both. Okay, so both I would say are very comparable in speed. I would say 5 to 12 minutes for each.
Depending, again, it depends on how big, how large the file is.
Right, and how much detail. The CEREC unit is capable of milling models on the MCXL.
I'm sorry, I don't know if that's a question or if that's a, let me see here. Can you talk about
is it possible? Models, not the MCXL. The MCXL is going to be the single mandrel blocks, like the ones with the mandrel holders. But for a full model, I can see it's probably possible in like the larger MCX5 mill, but we'd have to check with support to see if there is a like a strategy for it, because it all depends on what strategies are in the software. And then for what kind of warranty on each of these come with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty.
And that goes both on the MCXL and the
Right,
MCX5.
both of
Yep.
those. Is the MCX5 a single only or multi-mill? So the MCX5 is a multi. So it was that one where it has, you can put a full round diameter 98 disc in there. You can swap that out to the mandrel style holder where you can load up your blocks. But no, that is a multi-mill, I recall.
When we say multi, maybe the viewer is asking multiple discs at one time.
Okay, no, it is a single. Yeah, no, sorry about that. It is not a disc changer. No, it is a single disc mill. Why is the footprint so large on the MCXL compared to the MCX5?
The MCXL, it's a little bit shorter, but it's a little bit wider.
I wonder if this picture makes it look a little bit bigger than
let's
it
go back to
is.
that picture real quickly.
Yeah, I think it definitely looks a lot bigger than it is in person. I would maybe compare this mill to
and there is a water tank, right? So
right underneath this mill here, like the mill part, there's 3 drawers, and that's where the tanks and everything are stored. So that's definitely going to take up some size. I would say it's more long than wide as
right?
Well, it's definitely a different shaped mill, and I can see it kind of. We can, if you have like a space that you want to fit it in, you can always, reach out to your sales rep, let us know like what, and we can give you the actual dimensions of these mills.
That's a great question. We should have actually included some
had the actual
dimensions
on there. All right, so the next slides, we're going to talk about the Caramel DNA series by Amann Girrbach. They do have a larger line, and we're going to go through each one of those right now. Let me just get back here. All right, so the first 2 we're going to talk about is the Sirona Micro 4 and 5 axis. The one on the left, we have the 4, and the top right, we have the 5. Look very similar, but the main difference is the 4 has a 4 axis and the 5 is a 5 axis mill. For indication types, we're going to mill zirconia, wax, and PMMA out of these milling machines. So it is a dry only mill. And just to talk about the axes, the axes, sorry, it's difficult to say. The 5 axis that's what this picture kind of shows, this diagram. It has an A, B, Z, Y, and X axis. Whereas the 4 axis, we're going to get rid of the A and B. So you only have the X, Y, and Z axis for the 4, and then you have all of the 5 for the 5. So for the 4 axis, I would say it's perfect for like an introductory mill or maybe an add-on mill for single crowns hedge. Would you agree?
Yeah, so this only really comes into play if you're not doing single units, right? So if you're doing larger bridges, like all on 4s, screw retained crowns that have a more extreme angle that you need to mill, the 5 axis will definitely be more beneficial to you. But if you're milling single copings or even what is the maximum degree, Robin?
I think it's 5 degrees is the max tilt for the 4 axis.
On the 4 axis,
even that's
right?
Pushing it. So I would definitely never want to be above 5 and kind of take a look at that.
You're talking about the insertion.
The insertion direction.
Right.
Correct, yes.
So the Micro 4-axis mill, it's a great mill to add on, but you know, would it be your first choice to get a mill? Probably not, right? The 5-axis does definitely bring more to the table.
Right. You'll have a lot more indication types to use it for. So does anybody have any questions on the Micro 4, the Micro 5, maybe the differences between 4 and 5 axis, anything like that? What's the maximum number of axes on the market today? It is 5 axis on these milling machines.
And also, both these mills can hold a 98 millimeter disc.
Correct.
And
yes.
a 71 millimeter disc by Amann Girrbach.
Right. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. So in these pictures, you do see the D-shaped disc is actually what is in the pictures right now. But yes, it does come with a 98 millimeter arm, so you'll be able to switch between the two. How's the vacuum? The vacuum is pretty good. I would say it is made
relatively quiet. Yep.
It's very quiet. And it's, you know, definitely very powerful.
And each mill would have its own vacuum.
Right. Each mill comes with its own vacuum. What is the puck holder like?
So the puck holder in these mills, you know, you'd have to screw it in. The arm can actually come out of the mill itself. The 71 and the 98 millimeter are, of course, totally different. They are interchangeable though. Is it integrated in the mill? Which one is this?
Oh, is probably the vacuum. So the vacuum is integrated into the mill. So you mean like when it kicks on, it'll kick the vacuum on at the same time? Yes, that is a feature.
Yep. All right.
How much does the 5-axis cost? So these mills are at really good price points. I would say I would call your sales rep, because with all these packages, there's always, you know, pieces we need to go over and make sure you have all the pieces you need. So it can kind of vary in that way. So I would definitely get on the phone with your sales rep, whether Haijin, myself, or Matt Moran, Tony Murkoff, anybody out there can definitely help you out with this.
The spindle speed on these mills are also 60,000 RPM. We'll try to answer that question as we move on to the next slides. There are some other mills that we do carry that have a higher speed on the spindle, but these are 60,000 RPM spindles.
Can you purchase additional puck holders to have loaded and ready to go ahead of time? Technically, yes, but I think they're going to be a little expensive.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to save too much time. They're relatively quick to change the discs on these. This isn't a multiple disc holder, so it's one puck per mill. So we wouldn't recommend, right? I don't think we get too many of those.
Just be a little chaotic. Are the mills student friendly, high school level? I want to expose them to new technology to my students.
The CAM software is very intuitive, right?
Yeah,
I would say
for most mills, the software is very intuitive, and even the mills are. So I would definitely say, given the right training, I could definitely see a high school student being able to run these. For a ballpark price, you're going to be looking around between 35 and 38,000 for the Micro 5.
there is a question here. I'm sorry, I must have missed this one. Can you scroll up right here, Robin? There was a question about asking to discuss about the mandrels. Are we talking about the mandrels on the Emax blocks? How easy they are to take in and out? Because it's only 3 screws to get the mandrel in and out of the holder of the previous mill.
Yeah. Yes, the mill does come with a computer, monitor, and everything you would need. The license fees is
on the Amann Girrbach.
Right.
Yep.
Is $1,800 a year.
Correct.
And that is for the license and the mill for support and updates.
I believe AG calls it a protection plan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. All right, so the next mill we are going. Oh, are there similar fees for the Sirona mills? So Sirona does not come with a fee, but what you have, if you want to export STLs or import STLs. So for these milling machines, but actually if you're just getting the mill.
The mills are open, so there's no fees
right, onto
on
the mill.
there's no fees on the Sirona mills. If we're talking about the design software, there is an STL output fee every year annually. But when it comes to the mills, they're completely open. There are no fees for that mill.
Right.
All right.
All right. So now we're on to the Micro IC. This is good for glass ceramic blocks and custom abutments. So this milling machine, I would say is perfect for if you're going to be adding, kind of like the MCXL, if you're just looking to add some glass ceramic milling to your laboratory, but this one does actually do the custom abutments as well. It is just a wet mill. You can only do those two indication types. It has the same spindle as the other Amann Girrbach mills in the line. And it also, sorry about that. I hit the wrong button.
That's okay. We'll go back to that
We'll
one.
go back
That's
to
okay.
that. How do I go back?
Can we go back?
There we go. Thank you. Sorry about that. So yeah, so it is good for just wet custom titanium abutments and glass ceramics blocks. Other than that,
It cannot mill any Emax.
No.
I'm sorry, zirconia pucks.
zirconia, right? Like the zirconia blocks, right? So the MCXL could do the zirconia blocks, not this one. This one is just strictly all wet. Let me think here.
Any questions about the Sirona Micro IC? Again, it's a very good add-on mill. It wouldn't be your first choice of mill unless you're only doing Emax or glass ceramics, or excuse me, custom abutments.
Right, and they do mill one at a time as well. So it does come with a holder to mill one Emax and one titanium abutment at a time. The time for each one of those, I would say, is very comparable to the other ones. I think they're all relatively close in speed, ranging anywhere between 12 to even 20 minutes. Again, it just depends on the detail. It depends on the size, things like that. Will they add zirconia blocks? I have not heard of this, and it would have to be a block that would mill wet as well, because with the go ahead.
Yeah, and there will be probably a size restriction, right?
Right.
There'll be a limitation, maybe 3 units or less.
Right.
But by no means there'll be a mill, I believe, that can do the 98 millimeter.
Right. No, not the 98.
Let's see here. Okay.
All right. Any other questions on the Micro IC?
Oh, I'm sorry. One thing we should mention here. In the Micro IC mill, the titanium or the custom abutments that we'll be milling is the NT Trading prefab blanks.
Right.
So the interface is already prefabricated, and we will not be milling that. We're just milling the upper portion.
Correct. All right, we're going to move on. So now we're going to talk about the Ceramil Motion 2 DNA. The indication types are zirconia, wax, PMMA, glass ceramics blocks, TI custom abutments, and unsintered precious metals. So this mill is definitely another all-in-one mill, just like the MCX5. It just can do titanium custom abutments now, but other than that, this is another all-in-one mill. It's perfect for all indication types. So if you're a laboratory that does it all and you want just one milling machine, this might be the mill to kind of jump into. You can see in the picture here, kind of has this, that's a new holder. They call it the Christmas tree. Is that what they call it?
It can hold 12 of these little blocks.
Of these blocks at a time. And then you can see here, this is actually what all of the arms kind of look like. Just this part will be different depending on what you're putting in. Like if it's the round diameter 98, you'll have the big round, disc holder here. But what's nice, it holds all these tools right here in the holder. They're numbered nicely, so you can easily just put them in, and they're held in by magnets.
The arms are very, very easy to interchange. 30 seconds or less to it's plug and play.
Right.
And each arm has its own function. So the 98 millimeter zirconia arm will have its own, its own holder.
Right.
You can use that one for the wax and the PMA as long as it's 98 millimeters. But when you're milling Emax, it'll have its own arm, and same thing for the titanium abutments.
Right. And what's nice is as you pull the arms out, just to kind of talk about the tools again, is as you pull the arms out, the tools stay with it. So you can kind of have a nice little lineup on your cabinet or wherever the mill is, and have them kind of ready to go with the tools and everything at hand as you click in and out. And then to swap from wet to dry, I would say it does not have a cleaning feature like the MCX5, but it's definitely smaller in size. You can easily kind of just like wipe it down, spray it down. I used to use just like a rag with some, like even, I don't know, like some easy cleaner on it, non-abrasive cleaner, just kind of get everything out. You just kind of change the bottom tray depending if you're milling wet to dry. So it's really just make sure it's dry, make sure it's clean, don't leave residue. Especially glass ceramics block for all of them. I would definitely clean out after every glass ceramics block. No, it just really gunks up.
Yeah, the way the interior is designed on this Motion 2 DNA, it's so easy to clean. Maybe less than 5 minutes to switch over from wet to dry.
Right. Yeah, very simple to use. All of them are pretty simple to use, but very powerful.
Yeah, and I believe the chamber is completely sealed, so no moisture can get into the internals, right?
Get into there. Is this one of the most versatile mills on the market? I would definitely say yes.
Absolutely. We think this is one of the most versatile mills on the market. Of course, there are some limitations, but it can do many indications, right? So if you compare this one to some of the other mills on the market, even the ones that we carry that can do wet and dry, this can only mill one titanium blank at a time. Again, NT trading prefab mills, whereas there's some mills in the market they claim they can do 3, 6, maybe even 12. So again, there are some limitations, but to consider it one of the most versatile mills, we would definitely say it is one of the most versatile mills on the market. Sorry, let's scroll up here. There is a question. How heavy are these mills? That is a great question. I can't pick it up on myself. I would say I would say it's a two-man job. At least 100 pounds or more easily. But it's an awkward 100 pounds, right? It's a little bit heavier on the bottom, so.
Right, and once you get on the phone with your sales rep, we can give you the dimensions. We have the user manuals to all of these, so we can definitely like read off the weights and everything if that's a concern, just to kind of know ahead of time what you're getting into.
Great question on the spindle speed on this one. This Motion 2 DNA has a 100,000 RPM spindle by Jaeger. Next question here. Are the blocks used universal style mandrel? I believe it's the Seric mandrel style blocks that you have to have. If you don't have that on your block, you need to get the adapter.
How often should I clean it? I always recommend cleaning after every job. I don't know. It's just, especially if you're doing wet milling, it's really something that you want to make sure to get out of there. And a clean mill is a happy mill. It's, the maintenance on all of these guys are relatively the same. It's keep it calibrated, keep it clean, and follow the call it maintenance that is, per user manual, how they guide it. Each one has a different steps for it. But just keep it. I always clean them out after every job.
The vacuum is very good.
It's very good, and so that makes it easy to just kind of wipe it out. Just the less build up, the less it can get in all the nooks and crannies.
Can you name the rivals?
For all-in-ones.
So the MCX.
The MCX5 is close, I would say. I mean, it's especially once the titanium custom abutments comes out, they're very comparable. Like very just.
They're very similarly priced. They're both good, high quality mills. Some other mills on the market, the IMIS I-Core mills, maybe the 350.
The 350 is all-in-one.
Right, so that can do wet and dry and titanium.
Right.
There are some mills on the market where they claim wet and dry, but it can't do metal, it can't do titanium. So we have to keep that in consideration when we're comparing these mills. Can it do a titanium blank?
Right.
Let's see here.
And, of course, we'll let you know the weight. I would definitely, actually, to talk about the weight, this mill is, if you can easily wheel it around, you can purchase a cart that goes with the Motion 2 DNA that you can actually push it around where you need to go. And actually, in this cart, it is an extra fee, but in the cart, it holds the suction, it holds the wet the wet. Why can't I think of it?
What is it you're looking?
Like it holds the vacuum and the wet.
Oh, you mean the cart itself?
Yeah.
It's called the it is called the cart. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I knew I was waiting. I thought there was a special name for it, but yeah, it holds everything inside the cart, and then you can just push it around if it helps you move it around. Does the MCX5 mill titanium?
That mill does not mill titanium as of today.
As of today, it can and it will. It just is waiting for some clearance.
Correct. So I believe in Europe they are currently milling titanium out of the
In Europe,
mill.
they are, yes. In the MCX5 in Europe, they are milling the titanium.
But in the stateside, we are not utilizing that feature just yet.
Not yet.
I think it has something to do with the FDA approval or FDA clearance, but
Right.
it's not available just yet on the state side. The AG warranty. It is a 2-year warranty. It's one of the better warranties on the market. I believe they match the Roland warranties. I've seen some promotions, past Chicago Lab Day where they had 3 years, but as it stands, it's 2-year warranty.
Cost for this mill? I'll give a ballpark because again, the cost really depends on what arms you're getting. Because as you add on arms, if you purchase the cart, there's a bunch of bits and pieces that we would talk about over the phone. You're gonna look anywhere between 55 to 60,000. All right, so I think that.
Okay. Any other questions on the Motion 2 DNA?
Annual fee. This one will be the same as the Micro 5 and 4. It's got that $1,800 a year protection plan. I would say all of these Sirona mills have the same protection plan.
With that, you get all the upgrades annually.
Support and also support.
It will come with the tech support. So if there are 2-3 updates a year, you're able to qualify for all those updates at no additional charge. Oh, one other thing here. The unsintered precious metal, AG has a material called AG Syntron. It's a cobalt chrome material. You're milling it soft.
It reminds me of zirconia. Maybe
correct.
Softer.
Yep. And when you mill it, again, it mills soft, but when you sinter it in the argotherm, utilizing the argon gas sintering furnace, it hardens it and it will become the non-precious cobalt chrome.
Right. And the one in the MCX5, you would need to use the Sirona. It's not called Syntron, but you would want to use their special material for that. And they have a furnace that's called the Infire that you would need that one to use there. So depending on if you go with the MCX5 or the Motion 2, we would want to discuss, that material.
Yeah, it is a non-precious material.
So we're gonna move on. Oh, and this I should have moved on to this one earlier, but this kind of shows all the arms of the Motion 2. They're easily interchangeable. I have one of the custom abutment over here. You do see the D-style shaped disc here, but it does come with the round diameter 98. And then I also have some Emax milling over here. All right, so the next one we're going.
Wait, before we go back, any other questions? I'm sorry, on the Motion 2 DNA or any of the AG mills in that lineup?
So now we'll discuss the Roland GWX52 DCI. The indication types on this are zirconia, wax, PMMA. So this is another all dry mill. But what's nice about this mill is it does have the 6-disc changer. So you can actually line up 6 jobs nested up. So it's perfect for like overnight milling or all day milling.
And when labs are using pre-shaded discs, you can load these guys up. It can be a hassle if you're using, a bunch of pre-shaded or multi-layered material to switch back and forth. So you can actually keep the material or the disc that's partially used in the little holder and purchase additional holders.
Right. For these little holders. And you can see kind of on these pictures, these little barcodes. So how the mill kind of knows what it's milling is you nest everything up in, it's the software that this comes with is some 3D, but it's Millbox. So like when you purchase a Roland now, it's called some 3D Millbox on the quotes that we give out, but it's both versions. So it's, if you guys know about some 3D, they did kind of create a newer model called Millbox. It's a little bit easier to use, and it needs to be used with these newer Rolands, but you can swap between the two if you wanted to, if you liked some 3D. But in the nesting software, you would kind of assign each disc holder. These are named by letters, and then you kind of assign that in the some 3D software. And then as you load these up in the mill, it scans those barcodes knows that that is the one you used in that cam job.
Question is, can you mill titanium copings? You cannot mill any titanium copings in the Roland.
Right.
It is just a dry mill only.
If that question came up for the motion too, though, same, you would not know. It does not mill titanium discs. It mills just the titanium preformed blanks and then the
Syntron
the
material,
Syntron material.
the non-precious.
Right.
There's another question here. Does it mill soft metals? The Roland 52 DCI can mill the Syntron material. It is rated for it.
It is rated for it.
On the older Roland GWX50, it was not rated for it.
Right. You need to have one of the newer Rolands to be able to utilize that.
And just one word of advice: if we are going to mill Syntron or non-precious soft metal in these Roland mills, you don't want any cross-contamination in your zirconia.
Right.
So if you're going to mill a white zirconia puck afterwards, you want to make sure you vacuum and clean very, very thoroughly, because if that if a dust of soft metal gets onto your zirconia puck, it's very, very hard to get out. It may be impossible, right? It's embedded in there.
It's really,
It will also come with a little nifty holder for the 52 DCI also to hold your 6 puck. There are no annual fees on the Roland mills. Once you own Some 3D, the cam software that we paired it with, there's no annual fees. However, if you do want to update to a newer version, there can be a fee. But if you're with Zahn and CAP tech support, all those updates are at no charge.
Right. For the Rolands, typically after you get 1 year of support with the Roland mills, and then after 1 year, you have to pay you're asked to pay $199 a month, and that gives you all of your updates and support. Or if you purchase all of your materials through us, like your zirconia for these mills, your tools for these mills, and you average about $1,000 a month, then we waive that fee and you're in our support plan.
Yeah, so if there's any viewers here that have not partnered with Zahn and CAP, and you'd like to be partnered with our CAP tech support, that fee Robin just mentioned, it is $199 a month. But if you are already partnered with us, again, all the updates are included at no additional charge.
Right. And this is for just the Roland. Price range for this.
So the 52D and the 52 DCI, the Roland MSRPs are $25,990 for the 52D.
Right.
And then the 52 DCI, Roland's MSRP is $34,990.
Right.
With these mills, you're going to want to package it up with a suction unit, like a Quattro or a BOFA.
Right.
And then, of course, you'll need the CAM software.
Right. And we can put some packages together. So I would reach out to your sales rep. All right. So any other questions on the disc changer? Okay. So computer monitor included there. It's not included in the price that Haijin just gave, but in the bundle that we create, yes, we do it. We will put a PC in there.
And the monitor.
And the monitor, yes. All right, so the next mill we'll talk about is the Roland 52D. It's, as you can see from the pictures, it's very similar from the 52 DCI. It is the same mill, except for it doesn't have the disc changer.
This is actually replacing the outgoing Roland GWX51D.
Right, so if you're familiar with that one, this is just the next model up. And the biggest differences between the two is you can see this holder down the bottom left. It's the same disc holders that go in the DCI actually, except it comes with this nice holder that you can have them ready to go. And so you can see in the picture, this person has them lined up ready to mill. So when this mill is finished milling, they can open up the mill and just pull out the disc holder that it's holding. So there's no screw down clamp anymore. There's no, you don't have to load in the disc manually and crank down a screw cap or anything like that. This literally just clicks in and out, and then it scans the barcode, and then it goes from there. So it's really nice that you can, load up these 6 and just, oh, I see that the mill's done, pull out one disc, click in the next, and it's on to the next job.
And again, these holders are available for purchase.
Right, you can purchase them individually if you wanted to add on more.
One thing about the spindle on the 52 DCI and the 52D, it is a 60,000 RPM spindle. Very, very easy in-lab servicing. So if you know the spindle has come to time to replace the spindle, you can actually do so yourself.
Right. Which is nice because it's not common to be able to change your own spindle. Yeah, it's definitely it takes like a service tech to come out or sometimes ship it to us. But with this one, we can just ship you the part and follow some quick, easy steps and swap it out.
On the older Roland mills, they were a little more complicated to swap out. So you definitely needed to send the mill back to get service, or a tech would need to come to your facility to get that maintenance done. But on the newer mills, they're so much easier to replace and again, service in your lab.
Right. And just to talk about the warranty on the Rolands, it is a 2-year. It comes with only one, but then what you have to do is go to rolanddga.com and register your mill. You just need the serial number that's on the back. You go there and you register it, and they give you the 2nd year.
And I believe you have to do that within the first 30 days?
Yeah, I think you only have 30 days to do that.
But again, a great value to the mill.
Right.
A question here. Viewer is asking about brands and burr costs. So just a ballpark cost, you know, I believe the carbide burrs, they go for right around $39 or $40 and a burr, and they go all the way up to about $160 or so for the diamond coated burrs. There are 4 burrs that this mill will utilize: a 0.3, a 0.6, a 1 millimeter, and a 2 millimeter burr.
Right.
And again, you don't have to use diamond coated burrs for all your jobs. There are some specific burrs that you should be using to keep costs down for different types of materials. Just for example, you wouldn't want to use your diamond coated burrs to mill wax, right? We'd be using your regular carbide burrs.
Right. Same with PMMA. If you use your diamond burrs on a PMMA, you're pretty much, they're ruined. It's going to scrape all that diamond coating off, and then if you see chipped units after it, that's usually what happens.
I believe the burrs that you're wanting to use for the PMA are called Pro Cut, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And as far as brands go, I believe we recommend the Sierra tool, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right.
They actually have a new tornado tool.
From Sierra.
Right.
Right.
From Sierra.
Can more than one GWX52 can be hooked up to the same suction? In theory, I guess you really could, but we don't recommend that. We recommend one suction unit per mill, unless I guess you have a centralized suction in your lab.
Have that, like a very, they have an internal suction that they, that worked out. But if you have like another GWX50 that already has a BOFA or Quattro, I would always recommend getting a second one and just having its own suction.
One of the neat features of the Quattro IVAC is that it can turn off when your milling job is done.
Right.
So the suction unit is not always on when the job is done.
Right. I think if you have 2, it's going to be kind of difficult to stay on top of.
Correct. Any other questions here?
No, I think
just to stem off this question here, you can actually have several Roland mills off of one CAM software.
Right, off of CAM software. And then you can have up to 4 mills per V panel. What the V panel is, it's kind of like the controller of the mill software. Each mill, has a nesting, and then it goes kind of into a starter software in a way. The Amann Girrbach starter software is all kind of in the same. It doesn't look like you're going from one software to another. But with the Roland, it goes from Millbox on 3D to the V panel, and you can have up to 4 per V panel. And with that V panel, it's actually a nice way to keep track of burr life. It keeps, it's where you do all your maintenance for the mill and things like that.
Any other questions on the Roland 52D or the DCI? Okay, I think we can move on and let's come back.
And those are all of the mills that we offer here. So I know we went through each one and everyone got some questions in for each mill. But was there anything that you guys wanted me to kind of go back to? Any other questions or anything you wanted us to go over again?
This is a great question. What mill do you sell the most of? It's a great question, but a difficult question to answer because every lab's needs are a little bit different. Labs that, for quite some time, there are some labs that only wanted a dry mill. And of course, the Roland was our bread and butter, right, to be completely honest.
Right.
But now the Amann Girrbach lineup has the Micro 5-axis, which is a great mill. They kind of go hand in hand. So if you have a Motion 2 and you wanted to add on a dry mill, the Micro 5-axis would be a great choice. Not one mill is better than the other, right? There's some limitations and advantages to each mill. So
yeah, I feel like whenever somebody calls us, like we're here to kind of help you choose which one you want. We like to listen to what your indication types are. Like what does your day-to-day look like in your lab? And we can really help pinpoint which one we feel fits.
I'm sorry, to go back to the question that the viewer had asked about the mandrels on Sirona. It's the Sarek mandrel that the Sirona mill will take and the Amann Girrbach mill will take. Those are the only mandrels that the mills will take. So if you don't have that mandrel, the Sarek style, it will not take it. We have a question from a viewer asking about tools being interchangeable with Roland other than, tools. This would depend on the milling strategy. So if your milling strategy is rated for a certain type of tool length, we recommend utilizing that tool, because if the tool is a little bit shorter or a little bit longer, maybe the flute design is a little bit different, you may get different results. So whatever your, whoever your provider is, right, whether it be Zahn or someone else, another distributor, you always use the recommended tools that is recommended, rated with or partnered with your cam strategy. I'm sorry. So are there any tools that can go into a different mill from the Roland? Not that I know of. Robin, do you know of any tools that can go in a Roland into a different mill?
I'm thinking.
There may be similar sizes like the 0.3, a 0.6, 1, and a 2, but again, the lengths can be a little bit different on the shafts. So you wouldn't want to use a Roland tool on a Sirona mill or a Sirona tool on a Amann Girrbach mill. Let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the mandrel question again. The Roland also will need the Sarek adapter. If you do not have that adapter, it will not fit. There's no way for the mill to hold the Emax block. I apologize. I wish I had a picture of the mandrel. Can we pull one up? Is that possible? There is a little metal adapter at the end of the Emax block, and without that little adapter, you cannot hold, the mill can't hold the adapter. Let me just find a quick picture of it. Give me 1 second. Can we share this? I don't know if we can share this.
Without closing this.
Can you go back to the AG Motion 2 slide? We may have a picture of it that we didn't even notice.
Here?
Yeah, this is a...
Kind of see it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this picture.
Maybe these pictures?
Yeah, so this slide right here shows a Emax CAD block here. Those little adapters is what you need. If you don't have that, it won't be able to, the mill won't be able to hold it. So when you purchase these blocks, you should purchase the block that has the adapter on it.
Right.
I apologize. I don't know the cost of these blocks. We can definitely follow up with this. Maybe even send an email afterwards for the viewers who want to know the exact cost on this block.
So does each machine come with a mandrel holder? Yes, but some of them are different. So like the holder that comes with the Rolands are for like dry ceramics, like hybrid ceramics. Not you wouldn't be able to do like the blue Emax blocks like these or anything like that.
Because it's dry mill only.
Because it's a dry mill only. So it depends on, so the answer to the question, yes, each one does come. If I'm not right, the Rolands come with the old blue adapter. The Motion, yeah, so they all come with a mandrel holder. It just depends on, is it for the wet or the dry?
Sorry, where is the, did we miss a question here?
No. The micro IC cost, let me look up that really quick. I
So
think
it'll be a
it's,
ballpark,
it's
right?
a ballpark is going to be around, it's like 38,000 for a ballpark. Welcome. Let's go back to show our next webinar coming up. This is our next webinar coming up. It is Tuesday, September 18th, and we're going to help you choosing the right thermoplastic injections unit.
And if anyone has any questions, please follow up with any of your sales reps.
I do have the phone number here. So what you want to do is call 877-977-7889. And if you hit prompt 1, you'll get one of your sales reps. Cost for Sirona MCX5. So that one is actually up to, is it 45,000?
Correct.
Yeah.
The price has come down
45,000.
just a little bit.
Yeah, it used to be 52,000, 52, but then it's come down to 45.
The phone number is 877-977-7889, and I believe the prompt is number 1. And it'll dial your designated sales rep, and he or she can answer any additional questions that you have.
Right.
At this current time, I do not believe we have any webinars planned on tools, but we will definitely suggest this.
An idea, because that's what we do.
It's a great
we
idea.
Get ideas off of you guys, actually. The more questions we hear in sales or in support, we kind of think of different ways we can help explain that. So I'll definitely give that to the team as a good idea. Now you're talking about like going through every single like type of tool, type, life, costs, and things like that. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's definitely a great idea.
Also, webinar on 3D model printers. That's also a great idea. We will give this feedback to our marketing
we did
team.
do one on the Form Labs not too long ago, maybe how many months ago. But if you go on to our YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and type in custom automated prosthetics.
A viewer had asked, can you purchase an adapter for a Roland mill to accept an Ivoclar / non-Sirona block? Unfortunately, there's no adapter you can purchase for the Roland because the Roland will not be able to mill any glass ceramics.
Right.
It just doesn't have the capability on the GWX52D and the DCI. It is a dry mill only. So you wouldn't be able to mill any glass ceramics.
Right.
All right. Any other questions at this time? I know sometimes it's a lot to take in, and sometimes we forget. So
Yeah.
we want to thank everyone for tuning in and asking us all these questions. If we forgot something, again, please call us and we will do our best to get answers for you.
Yeah, I hope we could maybe help steer you guys in the direction of helping choose the correct mill for your laboratory. All right, we're going to sign off now, and if you need us, please just give us a call at that number and we can help you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.